Everything I learned from Charlton Heston. So that's not much. I know the blood on the door, and I know you eat bitter herbs and everything else, but tell me the whole story of Passover.
Okay, so the first thing, my mother-in-law happens to be in your group as well. She saw the Ten Commandments as a kid, and that was her education. And as I've been teaching and going through history, I tell people, whatever you learn from Hollywood is wrong. So the only way you can go ahead and you can watch any of these shows, I said, is if you pay your kids, 50 cents, inflation may be $1, for every mistake they find. Because it gets so ingrained. Like when we, at our Seder when my in-laws are here and we talk about the Ten Commandments, all she can think of is Charlton Heston. That's all she can think of. And
so I think a lot of people are like that, though.
Yeah.
How much would it cost you if you did every dollar?
It'd take forever. Actually, I told a few of my students. I said, "Why don't you tape the show?" I said, and then we'll have a little showing, and we'll stop the movie, every scene, and kind of see if they got anything right.
Next year we have to do.
Yeah, that would be
fantastic.
But we need more than an hour.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how these things go. So Passover, we're about to celebrate our 3,328th Passover tomorrow night. Okay, so Passover, the actual Exodus from Egypt took place 3,328 years ago. The Gregorian calendar would be 1313 BCE, and Jewish calendar would be year 2448, 2,448 years from the creation of man. Not the world. The world runs, actually, we spoke before, Judaism has a fiscal calendar and a calendar year. Our fiscal calendar, or our calendar year, starts on Rosh Hashanah. Right? Mm-hmm. That's the anniversary of the world, anniversary of man.
But this is the month of New Year's, right?
Right. So this is the month of Nisan, and the month of Nisan, which is really the first month.
Everybody gets a car?
A Nissan. So I was wondering how they got them.
Yeah, I know.
The pay-ins.
That's right.
So you go ahead and say you have. This is the first month of the year. So in the Jewish calendar, for example, today would be the 13th day to the month of Nisan, year 5,775. 5,775 connotates from the creation of man. Mm-hmm. And the 13th of Nisan is from the Exodus of Egypt. Okay, the Exodus of Egypt is probably the most important event. It's a piece of the most seminal event in Jewish history. Because that's really tonight, or tomorrow night, we're all going to be sitting down at our Seders. You have the birth of the Jewish people. Okay, this is where the Jewish people were birthed into. Okay, it means 430 years before tomorrow night, what happened was you had Abraham ink a deal with God to be the Jewish people. So Jewish people then were 1743, was BCE, was when the Jewish people, when Abraham inked the deal with God for the Jewish people to be the Jewish people.
I've never heard anybody ink a deal with God. It's funny. It's like, I've got some changes here on page 3.
The Bible talks about that God told Abraham, take some animals, cut them in half, put them either side, and then God sent down a pillar of smoke in a fiery furnace and walked through the pieces of the animal. Right? Genesis 15. Right? That's where that takes place. Right? So it actually is a real deal. And that's what became the Jewish people. So Abraham is considered the patriarch of the Jewish people. Got it? You have Abraham, mm-hmm. Isaac, Jacob. Those are the 3 patriarchs. You have 4 matriarchs, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. And they are the patriarchs and matriarchs of the Jewish people. They created the spiritual DNA of the Jewish people. As a people, we became birthed on Passover. Okay, so it's almost
because that was the coming together and saying, we're all entering Exodus together. We are one as a people, and we are moving as one for the first time.
And we're all accepting the deal that Abraham made with God. Okay. That's actually what takes place, because one thing that we really don't talk about a lot, but you should know, only 20% of the Jewish people left Egypt. During the 9th plague, the plague of darkness, 80% of the Jewish people died. Because they said, we would rather be slaves to Egypt than serve God. And they said, we're out of here. They said, we're not going. And God says, you got 2 choices. You could come with me, or you could stay here dead.
This is the thing that amazes me when I first heard that, because I've heard 10%, but
20.
I'll take you 20. Don't argue with me, Rabbi. But
I'm sure you heard it.
This is the thing that amazes me, because we think that is unusual, but there was only 20 to 30% of the American people that went to fight against the king. They weren't all with George Washington. It was 30% was the number. And the rest were either neutral or against it. If you look at what's happening right now, and you said, hey, we all got to stand up, you'd be lucky to get to 20%. There'd be a lot of people that believe, no, this really isn't right, but standing up and doing something about it, it's a small number. So God always kind of, unfortunately, whittles it down and purifies those people right before there's another great expansion.
Yeah. Actually, Egypt is called a cauldron.